Yeah, so hello and welcome to the horrify.world podcast, a podcast where a rotating cast of horrify.world contributors sit down and talk about horror. I'm Randolph and I'll be your host for today, and I'm joined by Nightfall, the person behind the channel, the Creepy Realms, at least for now, and a fellow solo developer, which will make sense for the subject of today's discussion. Because today we are talking about... No, actually we should, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Nightfall, and I, like Randolph said, I produce videos on the channel, The Creepy Realms, but that might go through rebranding very soon. And in the past I've also made video games, and I also make music. I do a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you made the game. It's called My Hotel in the Woods.
Right. So I made that over the course, I think over like two something months, with the support of some other people, and I did it like on weekends, and it was supposed to be much bigger than it originally than it came out, but in order to not get bored by the project, I shrunk it down a lot.
I totally get that, and and you released that game for free, right?
Yeah, right. On Halloween last year.
Yeah, it's like a really good bite-sized game, and I will leave a link in the description to it. Actually.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, because it's free, and I think it's fun checking out like solo developers, especially if it's like an amateur like hobby project that's only made to be like a project, like a hobby thing. I think that's interesting. Yeah.
Right, and I think that's also the topic of today's podcast. No.
It is actually, because we are talking about Yakyosho, a recently released indie horror game that we got review codes for, and we produced some videos for it. I produced a review, and you produced a let's play, and Alma produced a sort of like first look raw gameplay video. And
right. And I just want to say thank you so much to the dev for giving us the review codes, and whatever we say here is not intended to be like hurtful or anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think Elma left me a comment at some point, and she said something like, at least we have something to talk about. And I think that's right, because the game is anything but boring, and it brought up a lot of discussion about game development, which led us to having this discussion.
Oh yeah, definitely did. It was actually more or less the spark for the entire podcast in the first place.
Yeah, it actually was, and kind of like the whole thing that started off doing this more editorial stuff where we reach out to developers and get like review codes and review games and talk about them.
Right. And for that, I will forever be thankful to the dev. Plus, I think it's always a little like a small miracle when a game comes out, because there's just so much stuff that goes into it that people overlook a lot of the time. And whenever something does come out, it's always awesome to see. Look into the to the imagination of the creators. That's always amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. And Yakyosho, that's one of those games, I think, where you like you see that someone had an idea, and like the game. We should probably talk about the game.
We should probably start by that. So you go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a horror game where you are a teacher, and you wake up at your desk, and now the school you're in, it's haunted, and you need to find your way out. And the way you find your way out is that you have to light 12 lanterns around the school, and then make your way out.
Right. It's actually a pretty simple concept, and it's not a very unique concept, but it's good enough to make a game. And actually, I gotta say, like the first time I played this game, and until you mentioned it, I actually never realized that you're supposed to be a teacher. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I felt like I was a student for whatever reason. Maybe I'm just stupid, because there isn't much of a story when you start the game. It has like these 4 panels, I think.
Yeah, you
And
can totally miss those. You can totally miss like what's going on in those panels, I think.
yeah, I mean the story. I mean there's sort of a story, I guess. I mean you have these little kind of letters that tell the story of somebody who was there before you, and I think that's okay storytelling for what it is. It could have been a little bit more, I feel like, but it's all right for what it is. That's not really the problem the game has, in my opinion.
No, I think like the whole thing about so there are these notes around the school, and you'll find them as you're walking around. And the sort of issue with these notes is that they don't go anywhere. They aren't related to the main story. They're related to some kind of like side story, and none of us figured out like anything about that side story and where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I mean, I guess I don't really understand the point in the first place. Like, you are kind of teleported in this otherworldly dimension. I mean, it can't. I mean, it might be the real world. We don't know. But you know, you have these this red sky, and it's all just very confusing. You can't really. You don't really know what exactly is going on, and then you have these little what you call them, kitsunes, I think. These fox demons that you're supposed to rescue, and I don't really understand how they fit into the story.
Yeah, they're never properly introduced. The only way that you learn about them is that if you look in the in-game manual, they don't have like a story reason for being there, other than that they are also maybe trapped. But since it's a school, it doesn't make sense that magical foxes are trapped in a school.
They do come up though in the letters you find around.
They do? Really?
Yeah, they do. They do. It says something like I don't remember exactly, but it's something about that they like whoever wrote the letters has to save them for whatever reason. But yeah, they do come up in the game itself.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that would have been cool if like the letters were a part of the main story. Yeah, and so like another thing is that there's a ghost lady who runs around the school, and when you're playing, and if you don't know the story, she's sort of like a side scare, because like the school has a bunch of scares, and including this lady that runs around, but the panels in the beginning actually seem to imply that she's the one that traps you in like the red sky dimension, but that never really comes up again, and it doesn't come up in the ending either when you escape, because you just escape, and like there's no conclusion to like the whole thing about escaping. You just do.
Yeah, right. And the lady is pretty much the only thing that can kill you in this game, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
There are a bunch of like creatures in this game, and they're incredibly modeled. I'm not gonna lie to you. They are so like, I think this is the real skill of the developer. This is like their if you had like, you know, like a sheet of like top 5 skills of this developer, modeling would be 1 and animation would be 2. It's really, really good. And you have all these different creatures going on. Like there's this little demon child goblin thing that for whatever reason closes doors behind you. I didn't really understand the significance of that, but it exists. And then there are also like skeletons that don't do anything. It's really a shame. There are so many cool creatures, but none of them do really anything in the end. The ghost lady is the only real enemy in the game.
Yeah, and in my playthrough, she was mostly bugged, so I didn't actually see her a whole lot. I completed the game on like my 3rd run. I died the first 2 times, and I died pretty quickly, and then I figured out like a solution to getting through the game. And during that playthrough, I just did not see her. I saw her once, and that was about it.
Yeah, I had the same experience my 3rd playthrough, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like weird, right? Like it's almost like there's a bug that on a certain playthrough, her like coding, it bugs out or something. I think it's like she gets stuck in like the school gym on the bottom floor. Yeah, because that's where I saw her. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah,
she gets stuck there, and unless you go into like the cafeteria area, she will never get out of there. But if you go into the cafeteria area, I think the game teleports her, which is what kind of unstucks her.
Yes, Because I actually think I saw her like a second time there because I was like running through the cafeteria because there is a blue door that you need to go through to get to a red door, and I did briefly see her in there, but I think that's it. Yeah, and I hadn't seen her for the entire run except like down in the basketball court thing. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, really. The ghost woman. The problem is like, well, I mean, it's not a problem. It's just the gameplay. When you go around this the school building, really, we haven't talked about this yet, but the school building is like, I think 5 or 6 floors, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then there's like a courtyard, and that's it. It's a very, very small area you move in, and the ghost lady, like, she never goes outside, so you can always just, hang out there, because the items respawn, and they do so fairly quickly, like maybe a minute or something, 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's like the big issue because like the way to light the 12 lanterns is that all of the lanterns are hidden behind doors except for 2, I think. And you need keys to get into those doors. There are 4 kinds of doors in the game, and they are red, blue, green, and yellow doors. And the yellow and the green keys are fairly common, and the blue keys and the red keys are harder to come by. What you're supposed to do is like go from room to room in the school and then free the kitsunes because they might give you a blue or a red key. But you can also make the blue or the red key by finding flowers, and the flowers are in the courtyard, and the lady ghost can't get in the courtyard, so you can just go down to the courtyard and you can farm all the ingredients you need to create all of the red and blue keys that you need to get into those doors where the lanterns are, and then you can pretty much just like speedrun the entire game because the items, they respawn, so you can just keep picking the same flowers over and over and over again.
Right. I'd say like in its essence the game is kind of like a Slender game with extras. It's not that, I mean, obviously the ghost woman doesn't teleport to you, and she's not as much of a threat, I'd say, as Slenderman in a Slender game. But in its essence, it's like, I criticize this sometimes. It's like, or I criticized this a while back in a video I made about 3 random horror games. That this formula of collect X times Y, or find X times Y, whatever, is a little bit played out at this point.
Yeah.
And in its essence, it is that there isn't that much gameplay going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that brings us nicely to bullet point number 2, because this is a screamer streamer game. Like, it's a game that most people aren't gonna play themselves. They're gonna watch some idiot in a gamer chair play through it, because like I don't think anyone is gonna buy this, right? Like, this is $3 currently, and it should be free because there are, I don't know, maybe 100 games like this out there that are completely for free. So it's gonna get overlooked, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really talk about this much, but it has its name is Yakyosho, so it's like a Japanese-styled game. So this is what kind of makes it a little unique, I'd say. There are not that many Japanese-styled Slender games, I'd say, and there's, as I said earlier, there's so much cool stuff going on with the animations. Even the lanterns you pick up, they actually grow little like faces and tongues when you pick them up, or when you light them.
Yeah, there's so many like little details and little like.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah. But in the end, it's just a Slender game. And as you said, like in the early 2010s, there were so many people playing these Slender games, and they are like, especially going back to one of the most popular YouTubers you can think of, PewDiePie. He like started his whole career being a screamer streamer. Yeah. And especially in the early 2010s, that was very popular. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this game is a little bit late to the party.
I think it's a little late to the party, and I think it's like, and I think it's gonna get. I think it's one of those games that would have gotten like a few clicks, and it would have gotten decent publicity if it was a free game, but it's not, and like it's just gonna get, it's not gonna get picked because there are so many others of these like free like streamer games that streamers can play for free. But yeah, it looks fucking unique and looks beautiful.
Yeah, if you just look at the screenshots, I mean, you'd be surprised that the game itself isn't that great, but it looks amazing. I mean, I think Randolph and I kind of disagree on that point, but I don't think the environments are that great. But we'll probably get to that. But yeah, it's
I do kind of like agree, because I think that the sort of like the location and the atmosphere goes very nice together with the models and the animations. But there is definitely a big issue of like the environments being repeated, because you will see the same classrooms over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But, coming back to the point of the Screamer streamer, it's very interesting to me, because it's kind of like there are so many of them now, kind of like how there are so many games that are like streamer fodder. And there are actually, you wouldn't believe, or I didn't believe it, but Renov actually showed me, there are so many, or like 2 or 3 videos even of this game of streamers. I really didn't believe that people would really pick up this game, because I didn't fear this, like I personally didn't feel this game was very, like even if you are a streamer, then this game wouldn't really be up your road, because there isn't much to scream about, in my opinion. But there are actually 2 or 3 videos of people doing just that.
Yeah, I mean, they're professionals, I guess. They can fake it.
I guess so.
Yeah, I watched all of those videos, and they're so incredibly forced, right? Because like, I get that people are into those games where they just get freaked the fuck out, but a lot of these streamers, they are getting freaked the fuck out by faking it, definitely. And people did definitely fake this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to get freaked out about, because there isn't much. I'm not sure. In my well, I have only one really published game. I have a couple of games that are kind of hidden away, but yeah, I've made multiple games, and in my games, I've always or generally in horror, I've always thought that audio is like the most important part of horror. Visual stuff is not that important. You can, fake it. You don't even really need 3D skills.
Definitely. Yeah.
The important thing is audio, and this game has no audio.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has one song that is like a 5-second loop, maybe.
Yeah, which plays in the beginning, right, and then it doesn't play at all.
Right. So, even if you die, you have this voice acting of the woman. Mm-hmm. She basically just says "die, human," whatever. And it's probably like maybe the developer's friend or something. But
yeah, probably.
It's I think you could really salvage this game a lot if you had a good atmosphere. What I mean when I say good atmosphere is it needs better lighting, for one. The lighting is, I'm sorry, it's probably the worst thing about the game is the lighting. There's no lighting at all, basically.
I was gonna say it needs lighting, period.
And audio. If these 2 things would be in it, then I think there's so much potential. I mean, not so much potential, but potential for what it is. There could be a lot to be salvaged here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that the developer needs to remove the spawning and then spend the needed time to actually like balance the game so it doesn't like require the respawning of items, because it could be so fucking amazing if you needed to like chart your course through it and you needed to memorize where the items that you needed to progress were, which would also probably force you to actually make some of all those items that you can make, like find there's a radio and you can find batteries for the radio, and I think that's gonna like confuse the lady and it's gonna make her distracted for a while. But I never found the batteries and never had a reason to find the batteries.
I was about to say, but can you find batteries? I've seen no proof so far that you actually can. the point, like, I have not, like, in horrify.world, in our little network group, there were multiple people who got keys and who played this game, and none of us found batteries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure they exist, but I mean, I can only think of one point. There's this locker, and you have to put in, I think, like a 4-digit combination.
Yes.
And okay, but it's very convoluted, so this is why nobody would probably ever bother to get it. So what you do is you pick up what the dev calls a crystal. It's in a courtyard, and that starts a timer of, I think, 2 or 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes. And then there are like these question marks on the blackboards in some of the classrooms.
Yes.
Which you can't really tell apart.
No, exactly. That's the issue, because all of the classrooms are the exact same classroom.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, it's you can't really tell them apart. You can't really remember where everything was. And then in like this 3-minute window, you have to find the 4 specific classrooms with the question marks on them to find the digit, and then you have to guess the correct combination of the 4 digits. It's so convoluted that it's just easier to not do it at all.
Yeah, and how the fuck would you figure out the combination, right?
Yeah, I think the dev said just guess, basically.
Exactly. So you're gonna have 4 digits, and I don't know. That's gonna be like 76 combinations, I think.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it would be fine if the dev would just, not put a timer on the crystal.
Oh yeah, the crystals, you just like unlock the blackboard so that the blackboards, they reveal the code. Yeah.
But then again, maybe there are the batteries in there, and the radio is super overpowered, so they wanted to put it in like the most convoluted way, so it would be hard to get. But maybe they should just remove, the entirety of that radio mechanic.
Well, I mean,
you disagree?
Yeah. So here's my thing. If you remove the respawning items, yeah, I think that you should keep in all of the weird mechanics. You can also make food, which can also distract her. You should, I think you should keep it in, and you should also leave notes around the school that explains where to get the batteries and what to use them for, and give you an idea of what it does. Like give you like an idea of if it distracts her for long or if it distracts her for a short time. Yeah, I do think that the distractions could be a like very neat little gameplay thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with that, but I don't agree that the battery stuff was. I don't think that's a good mechanic. I think there were plenty of other ways to make it good. Like the trap stuff is great. I think that's probably the best mechanic the best distraction mechanic. The food thing is much like the battery stuff. It's almost not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because and I can actually see your point with the radio, because it's only in that one spot, right? And that's not a spot where she like comes by a whole lot. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
We don't know what it does. It might just keep her paralyzed for like the rest of the game. We don't know. It's just so convoluted. It's not worth getting. But we've talked so much negative about this game. I'm so sorry, because I think I feel really bad, because I know, looking at this game, I know the dev put like their heart into it, and I know that tons of time must have gone into it. I always feel really bad when criticizing small devs like that, and I think there's so much potential in there. I think they also said it's in beta.
Oh yeah, it's, the Steam page says it's still in beta. And after our reviews came out, he actually said that he was going to implement some of the changes.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, that is really cool.
Yes, because like a thing I harped on about is that gameplay is really slow, because everything you do has a timer. When you click a button, there's like a timer that needs to go up before the button is actually pressed, or before the door is opened, or before you take an item. And I was like, you gotta remove this shit, because these games, they require speed to be fun, right? You need to have some. It needs to be fun. It needs to be hectic. And right now it's a bit of a slog, because you're just waiting for the fucking timer every fucking time you pick up anything or open any door, do anything, and that just doesn't work.
I see your point, and I think I kind of agree with. I kind of don't agree with that. For one, I agree with like the doors and the pickup. Yeah, remove the timer. But some stuff like setting up the traps and stuff should have a timer, I think.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm with you, because it would also like take time to, I don't know, set up a trap. It doesn't take time to pick up a key from the floor or open a door. Yeah.
Yeah, there are plenty of bugs with this game, but I suppose we shouldn't really go into the bugs that much.
No, I mean, I don't think that's gonna be super relevant, because the developer actually seems like they're gonna do their damnedest to fix the game up and like get it to a point where people will actually buy it, and I think that's like really cool.
That is much kudos to the dev, because like it's like, as we said, it's like $2 or $3 game. The dev's not gonna make a living out of that.
No.
Plus, I don't know how much Steam takes, but it's probably gonna be like 30% or something. So
I believe it's actually 30%. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So going back and fixing a game like that, where you might get like $10 or something out of it, that is, I mean, even AAA developers don't do that, because they don't give a, and yeah, they don't care, and it warms my heart to see that little devs put the work into their games, and they actually do care about the product so much so that it will go back and fix it. I mean, you could just leave it,
Oh yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah.
And just focus on the next thing. But going back, that's so great.
Yeah, exactly, because like and that was what I would have done. I would have released it for free, and then I would have moved on to my next project.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And that's makes sense to me. Because it feels like a game that somebody made. Like, I don't want to say baby's first game, but it feels like.
But it is like, that. Yeah, it totally is.
It feels like practice. It feels like practice. It feels like somebody wanted to make a horror game, and they were thinking, okay, I also want gameplay. I don't want it to be a walking simulator or an experience, which is fine. It's two different kinds of games. And then they decided on a gameplay cycle, and they decided on the Slender cycle, because it's fairly easy to program. And and then they just kind of tried around with stuff, how it works. The programming feels a little bit like it doesn't feel tight in some places,
The game, for what it is surprisingly laggy. I can tell by how it's coded. The code seems like very heavy.
Yeah, I think so too. So to me, if you have like a spaghetti code like this, that's a sign for me for somebody who started and didn't really know how it would go, and then just kind of the structure kind of like at my workplace we say it historically expanded.
Yeah.
And then you have this spaghetti code, and that's okay for like a practice project. That's fine, and that's what it feels what it is. And for that, it's probably going to be hard for them to go back and fix some stuff, because then if you change like part of the code, it affects something completely unrelated. But hey, kudos for trying.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like totally why I would have started over with a new project, because it's going to take so much time and go back and fix the code to a point where it's worthy of being a product that you buy for money, that it's really not worth it. So it would make sense to just spend your energy on your project. Yeah. I feel like. And actually, I linked you something from itch.io, which is, I think, makes it really shows the point I'm trying to make. Because this is a game released for free, and if you go down to the comments, they are filled with streamer videos about the game.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah,
37 videos.
Jesus.
Yeah, and like that's the difference you get when you release a streamer game for free, contrary when you release it for money, and half the videos are videos that we've made about it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean that's right. But yeah, I think you can sell this game, and it's for like $2 or $3. It's okay, I guess. I'd probably say like if I would make this game and I'd sell it, I'd probably sell it for like $1. But $1, $3, whatever.
Yeah, I would sell it for $1. Yeah, because then it's gonna get bought. Yeah.
Yeah, but like 99 cents or something. But it's always hard because with a free game you are more lenient, because it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't lose anything.
No. Yeah, I mean, I've said that before. Like when you charge money for a product, you open yourself up to criticism that you wouldn't otherwise do.
Right. And it's just the whole thing about what is software worth. It's really, really hard to do. And if the dev feels their game is worth, or rather their work, I guess, is worth $3, then all right, that's fine. But in the end, it's the consumer who decides. And I think looking at the amount of reviews the consumers have spoken, it obviously could also be part of just not enough exposure. Which obviously, if you're a lone dev and this is their first game, you don't have an audience. You're not Chilla's Ark, you're not Puppet Combo.
Yeah.
You're just a no-name developer. Nobody's gonna play your game.
Were also developers that released their first couple of games for free so that they would get exposure, I think.
Right, and I think that loops back to the point you were trying to make. Starting for free, and then once you got them hooked, you just you sneak into the DMs, as they say.
Exactly. I think those $3 were. I think releasing it for free would be more valuable in the long run than whatever $3 you're gonna get from whoever's gonna buy it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and you could also do like another thing. You could release it for free, and then you could release a director's cut for money on Steam, which a game that we're gonna look at in the future called Security Booth is doing.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. I didn't think about that.
That's a fucking good idea. Yeah, it is a solo dev who used to work for Ubisoft of all people. Yeah, he released like a game for a game jam, I think, and then he like started improving it, and then he got like some feedback for it, and then he decided, hey, this could actually be a full game. So he just coded it from the ground up again and added like a bunch of stuff, and it's a totally other game, but it's gonna be available for money at some point.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly check that out. I think that's a really good idea to do, actually. And you bring up a good point, actually, about game jams. I think maybe, like, as a lone dev, if you don't really know your skill level, if you start a project like this, you might not know. Obviously, the dev knows programming, the dev knows 3D modeling, animation, knows texturing. And I think if the game has, give it another 2 or 3 months in the oven, it would be much, much better. It's just very unpolished. But if this was a game jam game, it would be absolutely fine. And I think it's okay for devs to start in game jams.
I also think that's like a lot of free, good exposure, because a lot of people check out game jams.
Absolutely. That's a good point. And yeah, we're talking about, we talked about this in our little group so much that we were actually a little bit frustrated with the setting.
Yes. I talked a lot about that in my video. I think that was half the runtime, actually.
Yeah, you talked about it a lot. But I guess on the other hand, we'll get to that. But I guess on the other hand, maybe don't fire your shots in your first game. Maybe that's the thing here.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So yeah, we're talking to riddles. We should probably get to the point. So yeah, the point is that the dev is actually not Japanese.
They are not.
Right. So you know better about them. So can you tell us where they're from?
Yes, they are from the Canary Islands. And if you don't know what that is a part of Spain that is geographically located off the coast of Africa. And it has a very cool and long and mysterious story. It's, among other things, believed to be sort of in the mythological place where Atlantis used to be, and you could use that in the game. And another cool thing is that the Spanish, as you probably know, they were not nice people wherever they went. The Incas and the Aztecs, they felt that hardcore in South America. But the thing is that it took the Spanish 3 years to conquer the entirety of the Aztec Empire, which was an empire with infrastructure and armies and the strategic advantage. And on the other hand, it took the Spanish 90 years to conquer one tribe on the Canary Islands, and no one knows why. because it wasn't like they didn't try. They actively fought a tribe for 90 years, and that tribe managed to hold them off for 90 years. And like, there's gotta be some fucked up lore in there, right? You can bake some fucked up shit on the Canary Islands. You can make it fucking spooky. Like, what the fuck did I say? I was talking about it earlier with someone, and I was like, yeah, why write this as like a Japanese school story when you could write it as someone trying to stop some kind of like ritual from making the wind god mad or some shit, right? I mean, that's this thing you could do. There's so much cool fucking lore that you could create or you could use, because they also have like a writing system, and no one knows what that writing system is or what it means. And that's, yeah, I could keep going on and on and on. Yeah.
Oh, it's just amazing, because I don't really know that much about the Canary Islands, but I think personally, it's like such I don't know how many people live on that island. Like,
it's an island group. There's one of them that's called the Canary Island, and they are collectively called the Canary Islands, and I think there are like 7 of them.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. Like, my geography and history is completely off. I've never ever, but it's still compared to other countries a very small place.
And it's very isolated. And I was actually talking about like the developers. I was asking him like, okay, what was it like during COVID? Because if people don't know, the Canary Islands is it's like the Bahamas of Europe. It's where every fat British person or German person or Danish person, they go to have vacation when they want to like just sit by a pool and get sunburned. That's where they go. So half the island or something, that's just tourist destinations. And I was like talking to the developer, I was asking like, wasn't it like, felt like you were completely alone in the entire world, and like there weren't any, like the world had gone under? And he was like, yeah, totally felt like that. It was haunted, it was empty. And as I was talking with him, I was just like, why the fuck did you not make a game about that?
I was about to say this. It's like such an interesting place, right? With such niche feelings, and there must be an extremely interesting folklore out there with so many interesting monsters. Like, can you imagine? I'm like living on an island. I mean, I'm talking to the right person. living on an island, there must be so much like underwater like cryptids, right? It's so interesting. There's so much stuff you probably could write about. And I think you were talking about writing what you know, the strength of your own culture. And I think I absolutely agree with that. Obviously, you can, I mean, the dev obviously likes Japanese culture, or else they wouldn't create like, a game centered around Japanese culture. But still, if you can put so much stuff into things, it's like you have to come up with things you've seen elsewhere. Maybe you can, if you make a game about a different culture like they did, about Japan in this case, you have to look at reference pictures, on how this stuff looks. But if you create it about your own culture, you just go outside, or, look around.
Yep, exactly.
And you can even go as far as taking like photos and using that as textures.
I was actually gonna, because we're gonna look at another game that's called Imperfect, where the developer has is inspired visually by a artist called Gustave Doré, who was a print artist back in like the 1600s, who created art by with printing presses. And he actually took Doré's artwork and he made those into texture, so it has this like very unique look. And you could totally do that with the writing system that they have on the Canary Islands, because it's basically textures. Like they have these square blocks, and they could totally make that could totally be textures.
It's so, I think it would be so amazing, actually, really. I'm actually gonna keep my eyes on this dev, and if they ever make a game about the Canary Islands, I don't give a shit if they take like $10 for it, or 20. I'll definitely check it out, just because I know this dev knows how to model, this dev knows how to animate, and the Canary Islands are so damn interesting. It's worth it just for that to me.
Yeah, exactly. Because you wouldn't even need a selling point for the game. You would just say, "Oh yeah, it's a horror game set in the Canary fucking Islands."
Yeah, I think, I mean, to me, because I know it's worth it, but I'm not sure if it would be that easy to get, unknown people who don't know anything about it. I mean, they read Canary Islands and maybe they're like me, they're stupid like me, and they don't know what it is or where it is. And they think like, okay, it's like Fiji or something, or Tuvalu or whatever. It's like an island somewhere. Who cares? So, you must, but it doesn't matter because I think this dev is so good with 3D animation. They could do it. They really could because they can make like really cool screenshots and bait. Well, bait is bad word for this.
No, I
get people to buy the game. It's so frustrating to me because I look at there's also this monster, that crawls around on the ceiling and it's so fucking amazing. It looks great. It has amazing textures. It's modeled amazingly, and even the animations are kind of like creepy. It's great, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it does not do anything. Yeah, and I mean yeah. I think the story in the notes that should have been the main plot. That you should have like run around and found those notes, and that should have like told the story. I think.
Yeah.
And a random thought actually popped into my head because like, if you want to capitalize on trends, then you could have used like the whole empty tourist destination as like sort of like a liminal space thing, like, right? That's a thing that's popular now. So you could have capitalized on like, I don't know, a dumb trend, right?
To be honest, I think the game would be, like you said, it would be actually much better if it was just a walking sim with liminal spaces around the Canary Islands. That would have already been better than what it is. But I mean, it not necessarily actually. If they really, I think this is where my personal my biggest grudge is. You can make the stupidest or the worst gameplay good by making a creepy ambience, and they didn't do that. And if they would have done that, it would have been fine, But they didn't.
Yeah.
And if they would do that, like you said, using that isolated feeling of the Canary Islands, they would have to put a lot more work into like the audio, the lighting, everything that's connected to atmosphere than they did right now. They would have probably they would have had to take a lot more time into that, and would have. I mean, I guess they would have saved time on programming, but still.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have had to animate, I don't know, or model half the stuff that's actually in the game. I feel like you could easily do a game with half the models that this game has.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That is true. We didn't talk about this yet, but you brought this up actually in your review, talking about how it is a little bit cartoony looking. It's not quite anime, I wouldn't say, but it's more like a comic. It's not even like a manga. It's really like a comic.
Yeah, it's like an early 2000s like Western comic. I feel like.
Yeah, and it actually doesn't look bad.
No, it has a style, and style is like always good, but it's unfortunately just in this game.
Yeah, it's I think my biggest grudge isn't even the gameplay. It's just I think I said this in my video too. I said it like 10-20 minutes into my 30-minute video. There's just no atmosphere there. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's to me where that's the biggest problem with the game. If there was atmosphere, I think I'd be fine with it costing money. But as it stands now, it's just I don't know how streamers even get anything out of it because there's nothing to scream at.
No,
I don't know.
They make it work. Yeah, I mean they are basically just like a different kind of prostitute. I guess they can like fake it so that you think it's real. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
And yeah, because like you could do some really cool things with sound design. Like it would be so cool if you could always hear the lady mumbling to herself, and then the sound would get like further away or closer depending on like where she was in the building, right? That would be good.
Oh, like totally. That would already add so much.
Yeah, then you would be tense all the time because you could always hear her. You could always hear her moving closer or moving further away. Yeah, that would be like such a little thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they kind of tried a little bit because there is this atmosphere of wind in the leaves and little birdie outside. I said this in the beginning of my video. It feels like when you were like back in school and you were just, late afternoon, like 4 p.m. In like October, November, and you make your way home, and it felt like that, but it wears off so fast.
Oh yeah, I am unfortunately with you. Yeah, I mean it really does. Because like it's fine in the beginning, but you never get more sound, right? It should have done something. Like it's fine to have some quiet in the beginning because you as a player need to open your mind and you need to adjust to the game that you're playing. But then as you get into the game should slowly start introducing new sounds into the game, and it never does. And like now that we're talking about it, I think that's a little weird, right? Because silence in the beginning, that's fine, but you need to like add stuff on top so that you actually get a soundscape, and this doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have sound, period, almost. I mean, there is sound, like we said, but it's nothing really in the end. It's like okay, it's like if you like went out your door right now, or maybe you are outside or listening to this podcast on your phone or something, or on your way home, like if you pull off your headphones right now and you listen, you will always hear something, maybe the birds, or maybe like if you're on a train, maybe the train tracks, or if you're in a car, then maybe you hear the car sounds, the engine and stuff. But yeah, okay, it's there, but is it really sound? Yeah, I mean, kinda, but it's nothing really that adds to your current situation, really. It's hard to explain, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's sound that you as a human being, you're naturally like used to just editing out of your brain. And I think maybe that's the issue with this game. Maybe it does have like sound, but it's the kind of background sound that you're used to hearing, so you don't notice it and you're not consciously aware of it happening.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's actually a really good point you just Matt made there. The kind of white noise of your life almost. You just edit it out. Your brain automatically just disregards it.
Yeah, because I think it does have like little footsteps, and I think it does have a little bit of wind rustling, and there is a little like weird bubble sound. I think it does have sounds, but they're all like background sounds, right?
Yeah, right. That's true. It's really, really a shame about that. But I think, if they said they're gonna change some more stuff, then maybe that's on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're ever gonna proper like touch it again in an official capacity, but if Kanashi Dev is listening, let me know when there are updates, because I would love to go in and check out the updates and give feedback on them.
Oh yeah, I'd be willing to go back to it too, because I'm very interested in what they can do with the feedback, because from what I can tell, I mean, we were admittingly very harsh to them sometimes. And I kind of feel like I regret that a little bit. But on the other hand, I don't think they've ever gotten feedback in the first place. So maybe that actually helps.
Yeah, exactly. I think there were things that need to be said about this game, and I think that now that they have been said, that's good. And I talked to him afterwards, and he didn't seem terribly broken up about some of the things he said. He addressed some of the criticisms and like said that he was going to fix it. So I think he's fairly like cool with it. I think developers have a thicker skin than we often give them credit for.
Yeah, that's true. And they really seem like, from what I've noticed, they seem like such a sweetheart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is absolutely, and the way they if they really talk like if they talk like they did, like you said, then I looking at this, I mean, you got to start somewhere, and there's no doubt in my mind that if they decide to go down this path further, stuff will just get better and better. It's just, maybe it was a first project. Maybe they need somebody else. Maybe if there were like a group of 2 people, maybe somebody who does the sound stuff, then maybe, maybe that's the thing. You can't really be good at everything making a game. You can kind of do everything maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're never gonna perfect everything.
Definitely get someone else to do the sound design.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So I mean, they say it's a beta, but at the current point, would you say one should buy this as opposed to play a free game?
No, like on the behalf of the consumer, no. If you want to support indie game developers that live on islands in the middle of Pacific that have a surprisingly big population, then buy it. But also write a objective review where you criticize everything, because I think that's got to be more valuable in the long run.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. The game itself is probably not worth the money. There's probably better stuff out there for free.
Yeah.
Actually, I made a video I think 2 years ago called "So I Played 12 Random Indie Games from Itch," and I think there are a lot of the games in there that were better than Yakyosho, like Psycho no Stalker, just to name one. And that's also free, by the way. I think there's a paid version now, but there's also a free version that's pretty good. And but if you want to support them, then it's okay.
Yeah.
To spend the $3.
View it as like you are some kind of like a rich Renaissance Venetian merchant, and that you are patronizing the arts. You can view it like that.
Yeah, you could
supporting
say
the arts. Yeah. And for the developer, I would say knock it down to 50 cents maybe. Oh, second, there's a dog. Hello, dog. Do you want to talk? No, you just want to change your bed. Yes, that's okay. Yeah, and to the developer, if you would knock down the price to, I don't know, 50 cents, maybe $1, then you would also get some sales, because I've made a video in the past where I just went on Steam and I spent $20 and just bought as many as, I just bought the cheapest games I could find, that was sort of like horror-ish, and I got 18 games and all that, and I made a video about that, and I'm making a follow-up where I bought 54 games for $20, and
Jesus.
I would have bought something like this if just because it was like a bargain bin thing. And I think that there's also room for sales in the bargain bin, because I've begun talking online with other people that have played some of these games, and this is a bit of I don't know, a hobby of people buying trash games just to see if they're good. And I think if you can get down, right. And I
think I gotta get into that because it sounds so interesting.
It is fucking interesting. It's something every once in a while I'll log in and I'll just power through 5 or 10 of them, and there are some neat experiences.
I do something similar. I wouldn't it's not like I go and buy the cheapest games. What I do is I put in random words and letters into the Steam search thing, and sometimes they just are games, and they have one review or something, or 2 or something. And then I just see put them on my wish list, and if they go discounted enough, I'll get them. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you should totally do the thing. Yeah, because it's so fun. Also because you just end up playing a bunch of stuff that you would never ever have played.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. But yeah, I would say maybe, actually I didn't say this before, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is interesting for Kanashi Dev. I don't know if they've looked at the game Psycho no Stalker, but it has a very similar setting to what they were trying to make.
Really?
It doesn't have, it's about this, basically you're in a Japanese school. This is more anime style, by the way. And there's this girl that wants to kill you, basically. So your task is basically go through the school, find stuff to, fend her off, and eventually just escape the school. And it has a similar style and it has a similar setting. So maybe draw some inspiration from that game. Of course, the AI is absolutely brilliant in that game, but that's
really?
besides the point. Yeah, I think it is, at least, because the girl will like sometimes like hide behind a door, and then you won't see her. But you go inside a room, and she will hide behind the door. And like if you wait a second, she'll like peek out behind the door, and that's when you see her. Or she'll catch you and then bring you into a classroom. Then she'll like count to 10, like you're supposed to hide or something. There's so much cool stuff in that game. Besides the point. But
no, I mean, if it's similar, then yeah, that makes sense.
The style though is what one can draw inspiration from for a Japanese school horror game, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it right now. Actually, it looks like if you're into those kind of games, it actually seems pretty cool, and it seems like a more polished idea, like a more polished version of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not an X collect X times Y game. It's an escape game. It's a little bit more like akin to Granny or something in that regard. But it's just style. It has good sound. Well, it's not great sound. It's okay, but just also the graphic style is pretty similar, and I think one can draw some inspiration for it if they're trying to make a school horror game about Japan.
And it also has like a lot of streamer videos about it. So
yeah, because it's one of those games that would definitely fit for streamers. Yeah. Yeah,
I see Makimu, he played it. Yeah. 4.1 million views 6 months ago.
Yeah, so, that's definitely gotten some attention to the game.
Yes, and like if you make games that are like other games but aren't as good as other games, it's sometimes like really good marketing move to make that game free, because remember Fortnite?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just a free alternative to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, right? And then it just went wow.
Totally. I never wanted to spend money on PUBG. When PUBG was big, I was still doing my apprenticeship, and
really?
Yeah, and was like 2017ish, and there were like the people I were with, they were all like 17, 18 plus. And all of them were playing PUBG in their like in between breaks and stuff, and I think they all paid money for it. No, I think it's on mobile. It also costs money.
Yeah, it's you have to it's a game that costs money. Yeah, I think it was like free and open.
I think
now
it's free.
Maybe. Yeah, it might have switched to a free to play model now, but yeah, it used to cost money.
Yeah, but like you said, it's just And just look at those numbers, Psychonostalker, what you say, like 4.1 million views.
Yes.
If just like, imagine if 1% go and download the game.
Exactly.
That's already more than probably the total amount of downloads Yakyosho has.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth doing things for free, but you gotta be careful because you need something else with it. Because my game is free, I don't get any downloads, but you need some sort of marketing around it too.
But I think your big mistake was not putting a big titty anime killer in it that's gonna chase you.
Maybe I should do that in my next game.
The April Fool's update.
Yeah. Talking about other games, it actually like. Just from the way you control the character and stuff, it does remind me a little bit of Yandere Dev or Yandere Simulator. But Yandere Dev is a completely different kind of person from Kanashi Dev. Kanashi Dev is just a real sweetheart, and yeah.
Not a creeper.
Yeah, I'd never compare the two devs, but it's just like popped into my mind that visually there are some similarities there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the school setting and a little bit how the characters controlled. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think we have exhausted and said everything that needed to be said about Yakyosho.
Yeah, I think we've
Yeah.
said everything there's to say about the game. We've, I mean, I guess I could try to come up with something that hasn't been said about it. Like,
I was gonna make a mean joke, but I'm not gonna.
yeah, I mean, yeah, in the end, it's just it's a small game. Probably this person's first real complete game.
I believe it is like their first real game.
They obviously have experience in everything they're doing, but you know, it does need some work.
Yes,
but yeah, I think
but I think like we've said before, we are definitely excited to see whatever they come up with next.
Oh yeah,
totally.
So yeah,
yeah, and you're done. You don't have any more opinions about Yakyosho?
No, I don't think I have anything else to add.
No, I don't think I have anything either. So where can people find you, and what are you up to right now?
Oh, me, I am just it's kind of funny. On Twitter, I call it whatever I feel like doing this weekism, and it really is like that. I have music. You can find me on the channel X Nightfall. I make YouTube stuff regarding horror games, and that's the Creepy Realms. I make games sometimes, and on itch.io I'm also Nightfall. And yeah, other than that, I'm very active on Twitter at Nightfall1. And
I will leave all of the links to all of your stuff in the description of whatever platform this goes live on.
Thank you very much. So yeah, if you're listening to this on horrify.world, hey there. It's really awesome to have you here.
It really is, yeah. And I'm Randolph. I will also leave links to my channels in the description, but you know, most of our stuff is just on horrify.world, and you can see it there. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we also have like a Twitter bot that promotes all of our stuff, so you don't have to remember to go in and look at the website.
Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, from all of us here at horrify.world, like, take care and good night.
That was sweet.